Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Akhil Tripathi, co-founder of MyScoot. Akhil is a graduate of Birla Institute of Technology and Science. He had worked for companies like Hike Messenger and Adan Digital Solutions before starting his own venture in 2019. Hi Akhil, welcome to ELI.
Hi, hi Priya.
Akhil, I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Yeah, hi everyone. It's great to be part of this process when we are trying to sort of instill into people how we can enter into the startup world and take up the challenges come up with it. So this is Akhil. Been trying out my luck in entrepreneurship for almost 3 or 4 years now, in fact, and finally hit some success with my school. And we are now trying to solve the problem of providing our users primarily a platform wherein they can solve the loneliness that is in their life. And we are trying it to solve by different ways. One of them being making them meet strangers and providing them a platform where they can interact with people that are more like-minded to them based on how we map them into our profiles.
Okay. Now tell us more about MyScoot. What is the problem statement you are solving through MyScoot? And again, how does it work exactly?
So MyScoot is primarily a setup wherein we are the main aim is that there are a lot of individuals out there that are for a better life or for better opportunities come to bigger cities and try to sort of live their life at a particular lifestyle. And what we are trying to solve for is those guys almost every time leave out the social work that they put in the first phase of their life, living in their hometowns, and enter new cities, and thus they enter into a city where there know a very few people, and getting to know the right set of people is not something which comes coherently to Indians, especially because given of the awkwardness we have in meeting strangers and connecting with them. So what my school is trying to solve for is that it's letting users believe that, in fact, it's making users believe, if I say it correctly, that there are people like you around, and if you just sort of try out my school, you will be having an opportunity to connect with them. And how we are doing it is by the medium of events, house hosted events. So what happens in those is that let's say someone lists their property over here, that they are interested in hosting a particular theme event. Then once we have verified that the host is genuine and they have a genuine plan to do that, so whosoever is interested in attending that theme party and has been approved by a 5-tier verification system that we have at my school, then we suggest those events to them. And post once the event is scheduled and they attend those events, then MyScoot has a playbook of its own, which sort of focuses on promoting unstrangering is the verb that we have created, which focuses on you getting to know more and more about the people that are there in the event with you.
Okay, very interesting. Um,
Yeah, so it has led, sorry, just completing my,
sure.
so it has led to people finding co-founders, people finding best friends. We see snaps of people putting up photos where they have visited someone else that they met at my school in their wedding. So they are attending weddings together now. They are starting startups over there. And so that has been the value that we are trying to solve for. And it sort of gives us a great gratification that at least at whatever scale we are, we have solved it for a lot of people already.
Okay. Let's talk about the problem statement a bit more,
Yeah.
especially in a country like India. Why do you think people who are like-minded are not meeting each other?
I don't think that they're not meeting each other, but they don't have a forum wherein they can meet each other. And in India, security concerns are quite obvious, and that there might be a million reasons for that happening. But you're always afraid when you meet a stranger whether they are trying to take advantage of you or not. So if you provide a platform to or an environment to Indians wherein they can connect with people without that concern, then they are quite friendly people, and they in fact are more helping than most lot out there. So that's the main thing that we sort of aim at. That if we provide them an environment wherein they can feel comfortable and open up, then they will connect with almost everyone at that event.
Okay. In other words, you are building a gated society, be it virtual. You are building a gated society of different people and a network of trust as well. Uh, I, I feel a similar thing is happening with different other startups. Like Cred is one such example. They are building a credible community of good players in society, and I have been seeing some other examples of similar ideas. Now tell us, what if we dive deep into it, what is the exact problem we are solving? Are we solving the trust issues we have as a society and as stakeholders of our society?
That might be the end result. That's not our target right now, but if that gets solved, that would be the best thing that can come out of this. The target problem that we are focusing primarily on is that it should be as easy for someone to have a great time as they want to, as it is easy it has now become with Ola and Uber to book a cab. So basically, you are free, you want to have fun, then you can just open up the MyScoot app and you would have an event nearby you. That you know for guarantee that if you attend it, you are going to have a great time. So, and that's the main focus area over here, so that you can meet people, new people, connect with them, and sort of make long-term relationship, be it as a friend or any other way, and along with that, have fun as well. So it's the main problem is urban loneliness is what we are trying to solve for. If trust and other factors get solved because of it, that's the best thing that can come out of it. Because as and when you get more friendlier, you have you become more trustworthy and you can trust people also more.
Hmm. I think it is a genuine problem we are trying to solve, urban loneliness. In fact, I have been a victim myself when I moved to Bangalore. But I was all alone for a long time, and it took me some time to discover who are like-minded people near me. I had only the colleagues at my work whom I can call the friends. So it's a genuine problem. Now tell us. What has been some of the success stories that you have seen through MyScoot?
So as I told you, so I remember a few guests of ours. I in fact attended one of those events where they were also attending. So what happened was that those guys sort of hit it off in terms of discussing ideas on what they want to work on, and eventually we heard a few months later down the track that they are trying out to build something uh, together now. So those were two individuals that were at least we can say they did not have a medium to meet before MyScoot, and once they sort of test out how MyScoot is, they found their co-founder. So that is one of our success stories over here. And then there are many others in which what has happened is that we have been seeing our users connect to each other a lot post they attend the event, and in fact they get into that habit of knowing more people, sort of exploring more people, how they call it now, and they want to attend an event almost every week. And even in COVID times, they have been requesting us to restart. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to do it offline yet. Yeah, we are trying our hand on online events.
Okay, interesting. Okay, now here I would like to talk about another interesting possibility. Why people meet? Why people meet like-minded people? What is the reason behind it?
No, it's not like people meet like-minded people only. They connect them most easily with them. Obviously, you will connect eventually with your polar opposite as well. But connecting to a like-minded person, sorry, is much more easier because then you have common things to talk on. Let's say, for example, I hosted a tennis event wherein I was watching a tennis final, Nadal and Djokovic, I guess, and other people attended that event. So we already had tennis as a common platform to talk over, and gradually we ended up making being friends because those who were in favor of Nadal connected with me, someone had attended with the other opponent, and even then you sort of connect to those people more than let's say a stranger who is not, you don't have any common grounds to talk with. So for any friendship or any uh, connection to happen, you need a common ground to start a conversation with, and that's what your like-mindedness initiates.
Okay. Now getting into the personal side of being an entrepreneur, tell us. What was your first day of entrepreneurship like? How did it all start?
First day, that would be some time back, and so I remember that I was at hike, and the problem that always kept bugging me, and it was sort of it had become irritating for me for a very long time. Then was that I wasn't happy with the work that I was doing, not in terms of getting to learn technical stuff and all that. I was doing a lot of learning at hike. They have a great setup over there. It's just that the problem that was being solved, or the problem at least I was being solved at, I was solving at hike, I did not connect with it much. And I didn't. I always say that if I work on something, at least it should benefit a lot of people in the right way, giving them the right reasons to work and use it. So that's what something that was bugging me for a long time. And when I finally got I was trying out something along with my employment over there. And when I finally got the guts to say, okay, now I have enough setup to take this on full on. So I told them, and the last day, it was like on the last day, generally people are very free and they are sort of trying to see where they can go on a vacation and everything. And here I, as soon as I wrapped up my office at 5 p.m. or something, I straight away went to our new office that was, it was a home of one of my friends, and we were staying there for a week just to build out whatever we had planned to. And I had my first all-nighter on my very first day of entrepreneurship. So that's how the craziness started. And we had jogged down our plans, monthly plans, and we started with that from the very first day. Because when you are sort of passionate about something, then you don't want to wait to get to it.
Okay, it started with a lot of passion. But how did you find other passionate people who are equally passionate about your problem statement?
So it's quite an interesting story. So I was working on some other startup before my school. In fact, two other startups before my school. So one of them, which I had co-founded, was solving a similar problem. And it's not similar in most terms, but quite the core of the problem, you can say it's similar, even though the products that we were building for it were they were quite different, but the core of the problem was similar. And I spent around a year or so trying to build that and scale it up and everything. And then when finally I could not make the ground running, I moved on to a different idea that I had, and I started looking into it. But Suresh and Siddharth at the same time in parallel, they are my co-founders at my school. They were trying to solve the same problem with my school in 2017 stuff. And eventually we met in 2018. We met via some online, I think LinkedIn or some other platform. They found out that I was working on the same problem earlier. And then we just met in from I remember a cafe or something, CCD. We planned it to be in a half an hour discussion, and we ended up talking 4 or 5 hours. And we thought that okay, this is something that we can take it further. And they already had covered some ground, and then I thought it makes sense for me to actually start and solve the problem that I started out with when I left high, and just give it my proper shot at achieving it. So that's how I met my co-founders. We were working on the same problem by different methods. And eventually, when we met, we had our synergies hit, and we went on ahead and raised the bar.
Okay, okay. Let's talk about your family life. You have been constantly getting into a lot of uncertainties as well when you build a startup. How did your family react to it when you have had a very stable career working with good companies with good paychecks? How did they react when you said them when you told them that you are moving out and starting on your own?
So when I started out, at least at that time, startups were not as popular as they are right now. I think parents might have become more receptive to it currently, seeing how the government has made proper reforms to help startups out. But at least at that time, it was still a taboo. And when I told my parents that I'm thinking of leaving my job, so they were asking, okay, then where are you going? So I tell, I'm trying on something of my own, and it took a quite a lot of convincing on my part to make them understand that why it is the right call for me. But eventually they got on board, and once they got on board, the best part, and I'm really thankful for to them about it. Once they got on board, they did not doubt it. They did not doubt me, and they have been supportive of me ever since. So, and for family life, I think if you become an entrepreneur, it's really important for your family to support you, because it's as big a risk for them as it is for you. And if they don't take the buy-in, then you will eventually have to make sacrifices that are not in, you can say, the favor of the firm or the startup or the problem that you're trying to solve. So thankfully, those guys, once they agreed, my parents, they were completely on board. And it's not like I've heard a lot of people saying that you need to sacrifice on your personal life and your personal time if you are working as an entrepreneur. That's true to some extent, but I've been able to sort of make my marriage happen in the same time period while I was an entrepreneur. And me and my wife and my family, we are living a normal life. Yeah, I work more hours than what they want me to, but then they have also gotten used to that kind of a life from me.
Okay. Okay. Now tell us, what is your vision? Ultimately, what you are trying to build with MyScoot?
So with my school, the ultimate vision, as I already told you, is that we aim to provide. Given that COVID has hit, we are also sort of making a pivot of sorts to understand our users better and how they want to deal in such unprecedented times. But overall, the vision at MyScoot is focused on uh, giving a delightful experience to our users and ensuring that the connections that are happening between users are meaningful connections, not those online connection wherein you just know you are in touch with an hey and a hi, but actually meaningful connections where you can actually share your current thoughts, your problems, and everything, and those connections last long. So the primary aim is to ensure that as many strong connections as we can, and whatever is needed to be done for that, we try and do our best with it.
What are the challenges you have faced? I'm sure a lot of challenges would be there, which you would have faced and crossed till date. Would like to hear some of the interesting ones.
Some of the interesting ones would be so my Scoot has a you can a yearly tradition of uh, hosting New Year events, because that's the time we feel that the users are most available to connect at a personal level. Given that that's a festival that's wherein people are on, they don't get a big enough off to go back home, but they still have a festival to celebrate. And New Year events are always crazy for us. Almost all our hosts are hosting big parties where or events wherein there are hundreds of guests that can come, and handling such events across initially NCR and now even in Bangalore last year was a fight in itself. There was every minute some call was coming in that we are interested in booking or interested in knowing about the events, and we almost all our members were on phone call for entire week. We never went home. We were just in our offices, and they are just talking to our users, setting up the events and everything. So that was an experience in itself, where there a lot of incidences happened where someone was interested in booking an event, but he was in Bangalore and they wanted to know how they can book an event in Delhi. And we are trying to tell them that you can attend in Bangalore, but they were interested in coming to Delhi. They're ready to move to Delhi for a day just to attend the event that we had over there. So yeah, those were crazy times. A week in office, the whole team on call almost all the time. We just had well, it was like everyone was occupying a sofa, and they were on call taking care of our customers and everyone. So yeah, that was a heavy traffic time, and COVID has also been a very big problem. I think that has been the case for everyone, I think. And we initially, given our core was meeting strangers, so it took a quite a big a hit. But I'm really happy of the team that we have at my school. Everyone sort of came in strong and found a way out of it, and we have now resulted. It has now resulted in us entering into online events, and even now moving towards a platform wherein we are promoting our creators to get in more hosts and get in more guests for the classes or whatever they're doing.
Okay. Speaking of COVID, I have got an interesting question for you. Now,
Yeah.
since we are working on a platform which enhances uh, uh, the connection of people. They bring people together. But COVID has changed a lot of things, especially the people to people interaction, and the way they interact. Uh, would like to ask you, what do you see as an entrepreneur and as an individual as well? Would be the future of human connection? How are they going to interact after the COVID is gone? Do you think the work from home and remote events and are these things here to stay, or we will be back to normal?
I think it would be back to normal. It might take some time, but eventually we'll get back to what we were used to.
Okay.
But I always say that whatever this pandemic might have done, the harm that it has caused, the lives that we have lost and everything,
Mhm.
but it has made humans more human, because it has been more of an humbling experience for most of us, from being used to the luxuries that we had before it, to being locked down in our homes and taking care of stuff ourselves. And it has also led to people to understand the value of the deep connections that they have with their family. And once ever things get back to normal, I'm expecting a society which is more considerate, more calm about each other, and wherein meeting people, having connections would become easier, because they would have been with people and having deep thoughts. Because earlier it was such a hurried life for everyone. They were just moving from one day in office to another. Now they had time to think and plan and reflect on what kind of decision they had taken. And I'm expecting a much more satisfied society out of it, whosoever makes it.
Okay. So you mean to say we have started valuing our relationships and people more than the material things we have, like job and money and all.
I think those things will always be valuable. That's how our society has been set up. But basically, this time has resulted in you understanding what you actually want. Some people might have still went with money or fame or something that they are more after. But yeah, people have had time to just reflect on what the problem is that they want to solve, or what is what they want to achieve from their life.
Mhm.
That's the primary thing that I feel has happened. At least it has happened with me, wherein I have time to reflect on what actions I took in the past few years and how I can improve on them.
Okay. Uh, Last two questions I have. One is, what are some of the interesting lessons you have learned as an entrepreneur?
So I can sort of discuss three over here. So first one would be never have any assumptions at all. So that's the biggest lesson that I learned very quickly. That you might imagine your user to be someone, but until unless you go and sit in front of him and discuss the problems they are solving, you are not actually doing the right thing. So having any kind of assumptions or assuming anything from the user's point of view is not the right call, at least for a software or a tech startup. They're supposed to get in touch with their users, connect with them, and actually understand what the root cause of the problem is before you start building anything.
Mhm.
You might test it out with a few POCs, that's all right, but never make the assumptions on what your user wants. Either it has to be data backed, or it has to be backed by actual voices of your users. That's the biggest lesson that I've learned. The second is uh, for an entrepreneur, there are sacrifices that are needed to be made, and they're part and parcel of this life. And being okay with that is one thing, but embracing that is what will bring out the best in you. So it's I think a lot of people will face this problem, that they face financial issues, they might face family pressure and other stuff that is a common in any society. But being focused on the problem that you want to solve is the only way you are going to succeed. You can't. People might tell you that okay, you can do side business, you can run side stuff, but then you will be deviating time away from the core problem that you want to solve. So having laser focus on the problem that you're trying to solve for is a must have from my point of view. Even though I have faced a lot of problems my side, but if I was working on something, I at least told myself once I realized that this is not the right thing to do, that either it is not important enough for me to pick it up as an entrepreneur or as a startup, or if it is important enough, then there's nothing else that matters more.
Okay.
And the The last one would be that uh, always be ready to explore and change. For every opportunity, or every problem comes with an opportunity. So just be open-minded, receptive to whatever your colleagues are telling you, whatever your users are telling you, because or investors or whatsoever. Because everyone over there will have their own thought. You just need to have the proper filter on what you need to pay heed to and what you not to.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
my final question: how would you suggest our audience to start their journey as entrepreneurs?
Hmm. That's an interesting one. So basically, started when you don't wait for the perfect thing to happen for you to start your journey, because that almost never happens. You will think, okay, this when I get my salary to X point, or when these many years pass, then that's not how you should make that call. When you find a problem that just keeps you awake at night, just start working on it. You might not take the plunge the very moment you realize it, but you can start exploring, talking to your target users, figuring out whether it is something that actually can be solved, and if it can be solved, are the users interested in the solution? And that's how you should start your journey. And once you get verification from your users, then if you actually believe in the problem, then don't listen to anyone. A lot of people will tell you what you can do, what you can't do. Just get into it. It's like you will only learn swimming once you enter the sea. You
Mhm.
can't just watch YouTube tutorials and do it.
Okay, but again, there is a risk, no? If you don't, you are not able to figure out how to swim, then you'll drown.
Uh, for that, you need to get at least that deep into the sea, right? So it's basically, to drown, you need waters that are deep enough. When you are entering, at least you asked me about how to start. So when you are entering, the waters are not that deep,
Hmm.
and just keep going, because when you reach the deep enough region, you would have learned swimming.
Okay, fair enough. On that note, we would close this session, and it was a great pleasure to have you here at ELI. I think our audience would have got lifetime lessons from this video. Thanks, Akhil, for your time, and our best wishes for MyScoot.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Viewers, you can follow and connect with Akhil on LinkedIn by typing Akhil Tripathi. Also, do visit their website by typing myscoot.in. That is it for today's episode. We'll be back with another exciting entrepreneur. Stay tuned to ELI.